And then there were a couple videos of sporting events over the weekend. So there are NHL hockey teams in Canada, as well as NBA teams, the Toronto Raptors. So this was a home game in Toronto in which the American national anthem was being sung, and the audience in Toronto is Canadian, and Canadians booed the American national anthem. This is the first and only time in my entire life that I've seen Canadians boo the American national anthem. To my Canadian viewers, this is the correct response. Boo the national anthem of America as long as Donald Trump is threatening your country. He is threatening to take away your sovereignty. He wants to economically destroy you and then force you to become the 51st state of America. That is lunacy, that is insane, that is completely inappropriate, even if it is a negotiation tactic. So yes, resist in every way possible. And I'm sure someone showed this video to Donald Trump and he basically backed down. Now he's going to try and claim this was a victory. Mexican President Sheinbaum announced that she will deploy 10,000 National Guard troops to the US border to help stop illegal drug trafficking. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau put out a really Trump-friendly tweet trying to appease him. I just had a good call with President Trump. Canada is implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new chapters, technology and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners. In addition, Canada is making a new commitment to appoint a fentanyl czar. We will list cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7 eyes on the border, blah, 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 blah. Proposed tariffs will be paused for at least 30 days. So Donald Trump didn't entirely back down. He's just threatening to enact them next month, on March 1st. And the presidents of Canada and Mexico are saying, okay, we'll pause ours as well for 30 days. But here's the thing. Donald Trump didn't get anything because Mexico and Canada were already doing this. Joe Biden orders immigration crackdown, and Mexico sends 10,000 troops to the border to patrol it. This article is from April of 2021. So Mexico gave Donald Trump the exact same thing they gave Joe Biden, and Joe Biden didn't threaten Mexico with 25% tariffs. And as well, same with Canada. The government of Canada's border plan, significant investments to strengthen border security and our immigration system. This was announced on December 18th of last year. So nothing new. What did Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promise Trump that's new in response to these tariffs? And it's the appointment of a fentanyl czar. Everything else in this tweet, Canada already announced they were doing. The only thing new that Donald Trump got for this gambit is Canada is going to appoint a new fentanyl czar. And everyone in Canada and Mexico's government right now are laughing at us. They're laughing at Donald Trump and this buffoonery. So I offered him what we've already been doing, and he dropped the tariffs. OMG, the same. And this is not about drugs. This is not about fentanyl or illegal immigration across the Canadian border, because the problem doesn't exist. This is the data from U.S. Customs and Border Patrol on drug seizures. And since October of 2021, the combined amount of fentanyl that's been seized at the Canadian border is 69 pounds. And a grand total of 2 pounds of fentanyl were seized for the entire fiscal year of 2023. So Canada is going to appoint a fentanyl czar to appease Trump to hunt down and prevent that 2 pounds of fentanyl from getting across the Canadian border. Donald Trump supporters aren't this stupid. They know that this was a disaster. This is Laura Ingraham on Fox News, confused. Why did Donald Trump back down? He was committed to doing this. He was talking tough. He said there was nothing Canada and Mexico could do to stop him. And then he backed down.
I'm not too impressed with the Canadian response, frankly. I mean, the fentanyls are, I don't know what that's going to do. And I guess they'll have a few helicopters flying at the border. I mean, it's not nothing, but they were going to get slapped with 25% tariffs, and now those are gone for at least 30 days. I'm not sure what's going to happen in 30 days. Maybe some other concessions, but I think President Trump saw a huge negative reaction to this, as I know you predicted, I predicted, from Wall Street, from the markets, from all the establishment types.
Yeah, the futures for the stock market on Sunday night were down over 2%, and Donald Trump freaked out. He freaked out because the stock market was going down on Sunday night. So what about Donald Trump's core supporters? This is Tim Pool. Tim Pool famously was part of the Tenet media scandal, and he accepted millions of dollars from the Russians to attack Ukraine and promote Russia. And he was all excited about these tariffs. After we destroy the Canadian economy, their will to resist will erode. We will then march in unopposed and deliver Canada to its rightful place as a territory of the United States with no political representation. This is what the hardest core MAGA supporters actually want: the destruction and subjugation of Canada. I mean, this is confusing messaging as well. Donald Trump is saying two different things. Donald Trump is trying to sell to Americans that tariffs are the greatest thing ever. Tariffs were used prior to the income tax, and the golden age of America was when McKinley was president in like the 1890s. So Donald Trump has been saying tariffs are great and will make America wealthier than ever. And now he's saying we cancel the tariffs because I got some marginal concessions from the Mexican and Canadian governments. Well, either tariffs are going to make America great again, or tariffs are bad, and we got something better by convincing Canada to appoint a fentanyl czar to stop 2 pounds of fentanyl from getting across the border. This is destroying America's reputation right now. And I'm going to give you a crystal clear example. This is the YouTube channel Edison Motors. They've got almost 500,000 subscribers. They look fantastic. And Edison Motors is Canada's leading heavy-duty electric truck manufacturer. This is a Canadian company. And this is their response. They put out a short. This is their response to Trump's tariffs, or threats of tariffs returning in 30 days.
So people have been asking me, how are the tariffs going to affect Edison Motors? And of the next 10 trucks we got, 2 trucks are going down to the States. So those 2 trucks, it looks like you're going to have an extra 25% added onto the cost of the bill. But what I'm more worried about is how it's going to affect things going forward as Canada retaliates with our own tariffs. You see, we had plans to source as many North American-made parts as possible, so we get a ton of supply from the United States. Like, we buy a lot of their parts to use in our trucks. And we're going to try and find as many Canadian parts now as we can to avoid those tariffs. But I don't know how many they are and how many we can replace, and we're going to have to start working on that. Unfortunately, some of the ones aren't made in Canada. We'll either have to look at China or look at Europe due to the U.S. now tariffs and this trade war thing. Like, this is so stupid and needless. We worked for 2 years to get as many North American-made parts as we can, and now we got to cut out all of our American ones. Like, why? There was no reason for any of this.
So during COVID in 2020, 2021, there was disruptions in global supply chains. The ports were so congested they couldn't find labor. Manufacturers were not getting their imports from Europe and China. So companies like Edison Motors did everything they could to buy American, to stay local, to stay within North America, because Donald Trump negotiated a free trade agreement in 2018. And now all of these Canadian companies are saying we can't trust America. We can't get our parts and supplies from America because these 25% tariffs might come back in 30 days. So Edison Motors and tens of thousands of other small businesses, both in Canada, Mexico, and the United States. They're now trying to go back to China. They now want to buy their parts and components from either Europe or China, and they have to avoid the United States because the United States is not a reliable trade partner. Our reputation has been irreversibly damaged because what Donald Trump has done.